These are the separators I'm talking about. I'm going to go ahead and put this inside of my canner for the first one. And then after I put my jars on top of it and I fill it up, then I'm going to put the other one on top of the jars. So let me go ahead and do that. Now for my pint and a half, I was able to fit 8 of them in here. So I'm going to go ahead and put my rim on. And I'm going to go ahead and stack the rest in. Alright, and there we go. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. So we got 13 of them in there. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is cut on my stove, and I'm going to go ahead and lid it. And after I lid it, then I'm just going to go ahead and wait for it to start venting. I apologize. Wait for it to start venting for around 10 minutes. Make sure you read your pressure canning book. So I'm going to do mine for 10 minutes, and the altitude that I'm at, I'm going to end up doing it at 15 pounds of pressure. To check yours, check it up on Google and just put in your city and then put in altitude. And it can be able to give you an idea of either your zip code or your city, and just put altitude. And Google will pretty much tell you. Alright, so let me go ahead and get it lidded. Okay, so I just got it lidded. I just cut it up to high. So whenever it starts getting hot and it starts venting, you'll see the air coming out of it. And what you want to do is let the air, as soon as the air starts coming out, you can actually feel the air, and it's a steady stream of air coming out. And don't put your hand directly on it because it's going to be hot. Just put your hand over it. If it's a steady stream, meaning it doesn't stop but it just keeps flowing out, you want to start your 10 minutes. You want to let it vent for 10 minutes, which is why you want to make sure you have enough water in your canner. It's always better to have more water than not enough, because you could end up messing up your canner. And these canners, they're expensive, but they last. The All-American. As well as the other ones. Who wants to waste money? So anyway, make sure that it vents for 10 minutes, and then after it vents for 10 minutes, that's when I'm going to go ahead and put my jiggler on. And I'll go ahead and I'll process it for 75 minutes for pints, 90 minutes for quarts. And since these are not pints, they're pint and a half, so you go ahead and use them as quarts. So I'm going to process this for 90 minutes. And so whenever it vents and I put the jiggler on, I'll be back. Now there's a steady stream going on. I put my hand over it and there's steady stream on my hand. What I'm going to do is I'm going to let that go for 10 minutes now. Alright, it's beeping. I'm cutting it off. And it has been 10 minutes. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is put on my 15 pounds of pressure. Again, find out what your pressure is. And now what I'm going to wait for is, I don't start the 90 minutes yet. I'm going to wait for it to reach 15 pounds of pressure. This is just to give me an idea. The real way I find out when it reaches 15 pounds of pressure is because of the 15-pound weight, which is right here. This is 15 pounds of pressure. As soon as it hits 15 pounds of pressure inside of my canner, it's going to start jiggling. And I'll show you what that looks like. So as soon as it reaches that, I'll tune you back in, and we're going to start our 90 minutes after it jiggles. Okay? This is what it sounds like whenever the jiggler starts jiggling. It's supposed to jiggle between 3 to 4 times, and read your manual. It's supposed to, for mine, it's supposed to be from 3 to 4 times. Smoking up, sorry about that. Let me take it off. It's supposed to rattle around 3 to 4 times. What I did is I set the timer for 90 minutes and cut down the heat. And the more you do this, you'll get more familiar with your stove. You'll be able to know what temperature to put it on. When you first start off, just play around with it and keep cutting it down slowly until it rattles between 3 to 4 times a minute. There you go. So I will be back after it's been 90 minutes and it's cooled down. Another thing too is, after it's been 90 minutes, don't take this jigger thing off. You'll release it too fast and your jars could break. So again, you worked so hard, you don't want what you've done to be in vain and for it not to work out. So make sure you go ahead and let it calm down on itself and wait till it reaches back to 0. Alright, I just finished cooking it for 90 minutes. I'm now cutting it off. And what I'm going to do now is just let the pressure go all the way down to the 0 mark right here. And then after I do that, what I'm going to go ahead and do is, once it hits 0, I'll go ahead and take the jiggler off at that time, and just a little bit of air should come out. And then I'll open up the lid, and after I open the lid, then I'm just going to let it sit in there for around 5 minutes. And then I'll take it over to the table. And make sure when you set them down, make sure you set them down on something of cloth. You don't want to wrap it in temperature. You don't want to put it on a glass table and the table is cold and your glass in here is hot. It'll burst them. So I'll tune on in, and I'll get back with you when it's cooled down. Alright, pressure's already at 0. Go ahead and take it off. A little bit of air. Now I'm going to go ahead and open up the lid, and then I'm going to let it sit for 5 minutes. And then I'm going to take them out. Here it is open. It's boiling pretty good. Oop, let me see it moving. It's cooked. Yeah, pretty nice. Here they are. All 13 of them. So wait 12 to 24 hours, and they should be sealed. And the way you'll know is instead of them being oval, kind of like the way they are right now, see how it's oval? It's going to suck the air out. Okay, so see you in 12 to 24 hours. Now what I have here are my garbanzo beans. They are finished. Let me zoom in on them so you can see what they look like. This is the one where I basically, you know, didn't get a chance to fill it up all the way, but I still got the juice from it, and I can put it inside of my soups. But this is basically how it looks. Very pretty. And you can see on this one, look at that piece of bacon right there. Yum! So here's what it looks like. All of my jars sealed, so that's a great thing. And over there are my my stock that I had made. But here's the garbanzo beans. And basically how you'll make this is you'll just open it up. Make sure you always check your seal before you open it. And make sure you smell it, but they've all sealed. And what you go ahead and do is just put it inside of your pan, pour it in there, and if you want to add some salt to it at that time, if you would have added salt to it, you could, what they normally say is do half a teaspoon for pints and 1 teaspoon for pint and a half. So I could have put a teaspoon and a half in there. But you can go ahead and, as soon as you put it inside of the pan, or put it inside of the whatever pot you're planning on cooking it in, put it on medium, and you can be able to heat it up. And once it's heated up, it's pretty much done. It's good to go. I normally cut it on because I'm normally running. I put it inside of my pot, and then I put it on high. And as soon as I first see the first bubble, I start seeing some steam coming up, I go ahead and cut it down. I cut it down, stir it, and then I'm basically done. But you can add in more onions if you want to. You can add in more bacon, basically anything you want to put inside of it with it, you can be able to do that. But it's basically, all you got to do is just heat it up, because heck, who wants to eat cold beans? So there you go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. And on behalf of your loved ones, friends, and family, because as cooks, we don't hear it enough. We tend to not hear it enough. If you do, that's a great thing. And I'll add one more to your collection. Thank you so much for caring for your family, friends, and loved ones to be able to make food from scratch that you know is actually good for them and healthy for them. You know what's in it. There's no preservatives, and you're doing an awesome job. Thank you so much. You have a good one. Thank you, and God bless.